My grandma died 11 years ago, but I just received a package from her today. Inside, a diary she kept during World War II, and a note that said, "I hope this clarifies the story I told you all those years ago. Be safe and keep an eye on the sky." She only told me the story once when I was 15, then never spoke of it again, no matter how much I begged. We live in Eastern Europe. During the war, the Nazis took over homes and turned them into command centers, places of unspeakable horror. One of those houses still stands in my hometown, abandoned, empty. People say they see lights at night, shadowy figures in the windows. One man tried to go inside on a dare. He heard breathing on the other side of the door, rough breathing, and smelled something putrid oozing through the cracks. I never believed any of it until I read the diary. My grandma was 23 years old when she was sent to work in that house, November 1943. 15 people moved in, doctors, professors, police officers, a makeshift intelligence center during wartime. Within days, weird things started happening. Déjà vu that lasted for hours. A peasant would come in asking for help about a stolen sheep. They'd take his statement, he'd leave, then walk right back in, repeating every single sentence, every gesture. The clock would roll back an hour. My grandma watched this happen. She was the only one who noticed. Professor S.M. was found standing in the hallway at night, eyes open, breathing, but not awake, not really there. He'd stand for hours in front of the basement door. Then one night, my grandma woke up and the door to her room was open. Something felt wrong. She went into the hall and found him again, in that same spot, that same trance. In that basement, it smelled like death, like something ancient and rotting. The stench would fill the entire house. Days would slip into nights. People would enter rooms and re-enter seconds later with no memory of leaving. Time itself was breaking down in that house. They took in 3 orphan children during Christmas, to keep them safe, to feed them. But on the second night, the children were found standing at the basement door. All 3 of them, in the same trance, making clicking sounds with their mouths, perfectly synchronized. When someone touched them, they all turned at once. The lights went out. Complete blackness filled the hall, and from behind the basement door came whispering. My grandma said the whisper was like a lover's voice. Sweet promises, pulling you in, making you want to stay there forever. The children had to be sent away immediately. Then they decided to investigate the basement. January 25th, 1944. Armed with guns and flashlights, they went down together. The basement was massive, bigger than the house above it. The walls were wet black stone. The air was freezing cold. Not normal cold, the kind that goes into your bones and wraps around your heart. It looked empty, but it didn't feel empty. Something was watching them, following their every move, something they couldn't see. When they came back up, Professor S.M. was gone, vanished. His coat was still on the chair. His wallet, his gun, everything he owned was left behind. He was never seen again. My grandma kept writing in that diary for 46 years after the war ended. The last entry was May 21st, 1990. 1 page left at the end. 1 sentence. God help me. They were not dreams. When I read that, everything connected. The house she worked in during the war. It's the same abandoned house in my hometown. The one everyone's too scared to enter. The one where people still see lights and shadows. She left me items in the box, too. A small statue the orphan girl gave her. Professor S.M.'s broken watch stopped at 3:27. And a Nazi iron cross. Every item has a story. A memory she couldn't escape. I live in fear now. Constant fear. Because of what she wrote about is real. If it's still happening in that house. God help us all. And at the very end of her diary, she described seeing a neighbor waving at her through the window. A neighbor with an unusually long arm. Still waving. Still waving. She never explained what that meant.